Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Sporting Mentality video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Indianapolis Colts, Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen, Gus Bradley, Jim Irsay, all of the above. Before we get into it, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and without further ado, let's get into this conversation. Obviously, I'm talking fast because I cannot wait to dive into this, okay? I could yap about this for 3 hours straight. We should be starting Anthony Richardson for the rest of the season without a doubt. No argument, no ands, ifs, or buts about it. That is the actual fact of the conversation, okay? We drafted this kid. When I say kid, he's literally a month younger than me. I was born June 23rd, 2002. He's a month younger than me. He was born in May 2002. He is a young kid. I'm supposed to be in college right now, people. So Anthony's a young kid, raw prospect. He's only played like 40 organized games of football in his entire career, including high school, college, and NFL. And when we drafted this guy 4th overall, when we drafted him, we knew he was going to be one of the biggest projects to take on ever. And he was going to need to develop for a long time. We were talking 3-4 years down the line until he actually shows some improvement. And he needs to play. And that's how Josh Allen was, similar, but Josh Allen was better in college, obviously. When we drafted Anthony Richardson, we knew one thing: he needed to play. So of course we let him play, but he played 4 games and got injured in 2023, and he was out for the rest of the year. We started Minshew, and Minshew went 9-8 or 8-9, whatever. We missed the playoffs. Doesn't really matter. So we saw the story of what happens when we start a backup quarterback. Now, fast forward to this year, Anthony Richardson plays 8 games, misses 2 of them. Joe Flacco wins those 2 games, or maybe he went 1-1. And he looked good, and Anthony Richardson looked bad in his 6 games, whatever it's been, 7 games. But it doesn't really matter because he's only played like 11 NFL games. And what we knew when we drafted him was that he needed to play. You can talk to any NFL player. Pat McAfee, he talks about it all the time. There's nothing like playing a football game, okay? You can practice all you want. When you play a football game, that's when you improve the most, okay? Anthony Richardson needs to play football games in order to improve so he learns from his mistakes. Now, you can yap all you want about the tapping out thing. Personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I really don't. He's a young kid, obviously. He's going to need to learn. We're not winning the Super Bowl this year. Newsflash, Shane Steichen, Jim Irsay, you starting Joe Flacco isn't going to do absolute poop for our franchise, okay? Joe Flacco, we all saw it. They like Anthony Richardson tapped out. They put him out of the game. They start Joe Flacco. What happens? We get absolutely annihilated against the Vikings because Joe Flacco can't move out of the pocket, and he throws an interception, throws for like 140 yards. We had the lowest yardage for our offense of the year. Why is that? Is it because Joe Flacco had a bad game? Yes, but it's also because Joe Flacco can't move. Anthony Richardson, what he does is keep the defense guessing. The Vikings never had a guess. I could predict every single play call that we called on last Sunday, whether it was a pass or a run. I could have predicted, oh, this is going to be pass, this is going to be a run. So could the Vikings, okay? Everyone at home could too, because Flacco can't scramble. So it's either a pass or it's a run. It's not a read option. It's not a pass and then maybe a run. None of that. It's a pass or a run. It's one or two, okay? And when you're facing a Vikings defense like that, it's just so easy for them to just corral the guy and make him look like absolute shit. And that's what happened with Joe Flacco. And of course, it comes out this week that Joe Flacco is starting against the Bills, and we're planning on starting him for the rest of the season. And I think we will start him for the rest of the season unless he gets injured, okay? So that means that AR has only played 11 career games, and like 4 NFL teams called Chris Ballard at the trade deadline asking to trade for him. He said no, thankfully. So the NFL teams know that this kid needs to play in order to improve, but the Colts don't. That's why everybody was calling him about it. Why isn't Anthony Richardson playing? Okay, so let me play this out. Let's look at the Colts' schedule real quick. How about we do that? So this Sunday, we face the Bills, okay? And I think Joe Flacco will do decent against the Bills. I think we'll lose, but I think he'll do decent. So that's probably an L versus the Bills. Then we go to the Jets, okay? And we're probably going to lose against the Jets because it's Aaron Rodgers, and the Jets have an insane defense. So I think Joe Flacco probably does ass, and we lose that game. So now we're going to be what? I think we're 4-5 right now. We're going to be 4-7 at this point after we lose to the Bills and Jets. Maybe we win both those games and we're looking up and we're like, oh my God. But I'm assuming we're going to lose both those games. Then we go to the Lions. We're going to lose that as well. So what are we, 4-8 now? Like, yeah, we're 4-8 at this point. And then we face the Patriots. Okay, 5-8. And maybe the Patriots even beat us. So what's to say? And then we face the Broncos. The Broncos are looking good. What are we going to be, 4-10? Or are we going to be 5-9? Are we going to be... You know, and then we face the Titans. It's a divisional game. It can get weird. Like, we can only, and then we face the Giants and the Jaguars. So yeah, maybe we get 8 wins. but then we'll miss the playoffs, okay? Because there's a lot of wild card teams this year. Maybe we get 9 wins and we get a wild card spot. What happens when we get a wild card spot? What happens when we get a wild card spot? Really, what's going to happen? We're not going to get a home playoff game. We're going to face one of the best teams in the playoffs, and we're going to get our asses kicked. And nothing's going to happen because this isn't a Super Bowl team. It's not ready. This team is not ready to win in the Super Bowl. Our cornerback room is a joke. It's an absolute joke. And you expect to roll out Joe Flacco over Anthony Richardson and all of our flaws just to not appear? We saw it against the Vikings game. Somehow our defense played amazing. I think the Vikings offensive line was a little weak after Darisaw went out. But the fact of the matter is that Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen and Jim Irsay are delusional. Okay? Starting Joe Flacco over Anthony Richardson. It's a joke. Should have never happened. You can listen to any media person you want. Colin Cowherd had a whole segment saying, NFL franchises aren't patient anymore. You know, blah, 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 blah. That's why they're starting Flacco. He's friends with Chris Ballard, guys. He doesn't know. Chris Ballard's just telling him what he wants to hear. The fact of the matter is that Anthony Richardson should be playing because in order to improve, he needs to play. He's so young. He's so raw. We need to develop him, and he needs to learn from his mistakes. Sitting behind Joe Flacco, yeah, it's going to do a little bit about learning how to be a leader and stuff, but he's not going to improve on the field at all. So what happens when he goes back next year and he looks the same, and then we're going to cut him after 8 games. We're going to bench him after 8 games again. And then we're going to be in the same quarterback carousel. We're going to sign, 39-year-old Matthew Stafford off the waiver wire or something after that, and we're going to try to be like Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers. And Carson Wentz, we're going to be in this quarterback carousel for so long. Or maybe we draft a quarterback in the second round. He wins the 6 games, and then we're back to where we were. You need to play this guy so we don't have to deal with this absolute BS QB carousel. It ruins franchises, and it's ruining ours, okay? It's a shit show that should have never started. And, what happens this weekend against the Bills, guys? If Joe Flacco plays like ass, which I don't think he will. I think he'll play pretty good, but it's at home, okay? If Joe Flacco, let's say he has 100 yards in an interception by the second half, okay? What happens at the end of the second quarter when the Bills are driving down the field and they score a touchdown? What's going to happen? First of all, the stadium's going to sound like Bills Mafia. And second of all, you're probably going to hear a lot of boos, quiet crowd, and then you're going to hear AR chants third and fourth quarter. What are you going to do then, Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen? You're going to start Anthony Richardson then after we just lost 2 games because we didn't start him? Yeah, maybe we would have lost 2 games with him, but at least we still have hope, that he's playing and that he's developing and that he's learning from his mistakes. It's just such a shit show that it's so obvious how to fix it, and yet they're doing the wrong thing. So it's one of the weirdest situations in the NFL right now. They need to look in the mirror and realize what they're doing, and they haven't done that. And until they do that, this Colts franchise is going to be an absolute joke, and it's going to be a bottom 5 franchise in the league, and that's what they're proving right now, okay? We have all the talent we need outside of the cornerback position and a few other positions on the defensive side of the ball. We need to develop the quarterback. If the quarterback develops, we sign a corner in the offseason or draft a corner in the offseason, get another tight end, voila. If Anthony Richardson looks 75% of what Josh Allen was last year or the year before, now we're talking Super Bowl. But you're not going to get there with 39-year-old Joe Flacco who can't run or anything. It's pass or run, pass or run. It's so predictable, okay? With Anthony Richardson, there's read options, and there's passing on play action and potentially scrambling, potentially passing. Keeps the defense guessing. And with a weapon like Jonathan Taylor back in the backfield, it makes it that much more dangerous because they don't know what you're going to do, okay? Because when Anthony Richardson has the ball, he's just as dangerous as Jonathan Taylor when he has the ball, when they're running, So it makes such for a dynamic offense, and yet we roll out 40-year-old Joe Flacco. It's like, this Colts franchise is a joke. They prove it in and out every single year with this QB carousel bullshit ever since we signed Luck. This is what I think the Colts should do, okay? Number 1, I thought they should have traded for David Njoku. They didn't. We need to draft or sign a tight end in the offseason. We need to fire Gus Bradley. I don't care how good our defense looks the rest of the year. I'm not dealing with it, okay? It's unacceptable. Fire Gus Bradley. Fire Chris Ballard. You get a new GM. You let Shane pick a DC, and we roll from there. That's what we do. We don't bring back Ballard under any circumstances. If you want to roll it back with Bradley, fine. But we, in no circumstances, I don't care how good Ballard has drafted, okay? I don't care how good he's drafted. He is too close with Jim Irsay to make this an effective organization. He listens to Jim Irsay on way too many things, and you can tell Jim Irsay is basically the GM. This Joe Flacco QB change was Jim Irsay, people. It was not Shane Steichen. It's so obvious, okay? So fire Chris Ballard at least, and Gus Bradley, hopefully. Get a new tight end. Draft a corner in a high round. And let's go out next year and develop AR, and let's make the playoffs next year. And let's try to make a damn run. And then the next year after that, everyone will be at the end of the prime or in the prime. Anthony Richardson will be entering his prime. And then we're Super Bowl effing contenders if he pans out. Now, if he's total dog shit, this whole video doesn't matter. But guess what? We need to find out if he's a pile of dog shit or just, a project. If he's a pile of dog shit, that's fine. We'll move on. But if he's a project, let's develop that project.